Well, welcome back. This go round, we're going to take another look at an interesting fighting game, which combines a lot of elements from Samurai Showdown, Fatal Fury, maybe Art of Fighting. So you'd imagine if it combines those particular elements from those series, it would be a dynamic game. Well, yes and no. More towards the no part. We're going to take a look at Savage Reign. And Savage Reign is kind of one of those games that is kind of passed over because its sequel was way better than its, predecessor. And the sequel, of course, was Kizuna Encounter. While it has some interesting concepts, some ways it fails in execution because it tries to be too many different things, and kind of a lacking originality and deeper gameplay. So, not to really get into too much, but the story, for the most part, concentrates on a particular protagonist in here, Hayate, who is this fucking martial art uses like karate mixed with boomerang or some shit like that, like Fuin Ken or whatever. And basically, this particular leader, boss character, I think it's King Leo or King Lion, one of them fuckers, basically ropes in a whole bunch of these fighters with the promises of wealth and fame or whatever the fuck he promises them. But anywho, let's just take a look. And the reason why I chose this game is actually because of an awesome YouTuber, MCPENTLAND, or better known as Mr. Marty Marr. He kind of recommended it, well, not so much recommended, but asked kind of for like an overview because of my overview towards Aggressors of Dark Combat and my attitudes towards certain games that could have been better than they were. Alright, let's just get into it. Alright, basically, for the most part, you have a punch, you have a kick, you have a weapon attack, and you can throw your weapon. Also, the Fatal Fury part, for the most part, is switching between lines, as you see right there. So, that's kind of like the Fatal Fury part right there. Alright, so we know all that shit. I'm going to pick the main protagonist. The game's kind of fucking difficult, so I don't know how far I'll get because I haven't played this shit in a long time. There is a lot of special moves accomplished via Street Fighter S-type motions and all that fun stuff. So, yeah. Now, the one thing I have to say though, the graphics are pretty decent. Like the character sprites are pretty, they're large, they're in charge. I guess that's what she said. The thing is the problem with the game starts to lie with, the stiffness of the characters. While the characters are animated pretty well, even though they're awkward as shit looking characters, and I don't know why they chose someone. You got a fucking clown in here, you got a gymnast, you got a fucking rogue cop. I mean, the thing is that, as you can see, there's my plane switch, and I can kick off different things. Not all the backgrounds feature that, but it's a way of avoiding attacks, which is very similar to Fatal Fury, but in a different type of, what do you call that? A different type of setting or a different type of format used to avoid tags. So it's pretty useful. Like I said, the characters themselves are okay. I mean, some of the characters themselves are pretty awkward as shit looking, but the animations are pretty good, and they're what you expect. And like I said, the stiffness and control comes probably from the fact of there needed to be more animation frames in the game. And because of that, it's kind of hard to put together combos, or how would they say, or it's kind of hard to say, because the thing is that the game, in a sense, has a very stiff feeling to it. there's all sorts of special moves, your death moves, etc., etc. But there's nothing in here that really would change the way of looking or wow the world or anything that would revolutionize the fighting game series. It's like they try to put as much of their series into basically one fighting game, but the execution is where it kind of falters with that. Because there's nothing wrong with it. A lot of fighting games, use, other type of system or similar systems to other ones. But the thing is that at least there's something done with flair, and that's something that SNK is usually known for. Like, they'll use, like, one of their systems or copy off another fighting game, but they'll have some flair originality to it. That's where this game kind of ends. And the character selection here is not exactly, how would they say, like, it's nothing that if you saw this in the arcade, you'd like look at it, you might play it, and then you forget about it. That's really all it is. And it's a shame, because at the time it came out in 1995, and it's a pretty high meg card. It's like $1.90, I believe it's rated at. It's just not enough there. It's just trying to be too many things. The music is not that bad, though. Like I said, the graphics aren't that bad, but the choice of characters and the limited appeal, especially because of the characters and things like that, it just gets lost in translation. So, there's not much more I can say about it. But like I said, positive, I do like certain aspects of the graphics, like the characters. The music is not bad. The sound effects are okay. There's a standard fare, grunts, groans, that all sorts of shit. But it just needed something to separate itself from the rest of, the fighting game, all the fighting games that were out at that particular time. And like I said, 1995 was a pretty big year for a lot of fighting games, especially SNK, because, this is competing against, like, the King of Fighters and, and other games at that time, like Samurai Shodown 3. So, it just didn't hit off. Whereas Kizuna Encounter, the sequel to this, basically just took this game and just reworked it, got rid of the 3D plane, used character switching, still kept the majority characters and things of that nature, but it just changed the whole gameplay up to give it something new and different. But like I said, it's one of these games, just like I talked about in Aggressor of Dark Combat, it's one of these games, either you like it or you don't. So, if you're a hardcore fighting game fan, maybe, but if you're a casual fighter, you're probably going to pass it over. I mean, is it worth purchasing? Probably not, especially for the MVS, because most people are going to go towards Kizuna Encounter anyway. But the thing is that it's definitely a worth a look. So, my thing is you can get this game. This game came out, I know for the Neo CD, because I had it initially back then. I don't know if it's out on any of the Neo Geo stations, to be honest with you. But for the PS2, this came out as a combination with this game and Kizuna Encounter. That I do know, which is actually a pretty cool combination. But like I said, if you want to check it out, either check out the PS2 compilation, even though it's Japanese only, check it out. Or, if you want to just get it shits and giggles out on emulation, go for it. But as far as buying it and things of that nature, like I said, I do kind of like the game, even though it has a lot of faults to it. But it's not one of those games that I spent a whole host of time with. Because like I said, after a while, the appeal is gone from the game because of I can't fucking get out the word. The uninteresting characters. There we go. That fucking gets it out. And the limited combo potential and just the overall stiffness of the game. Alright, Dan, I'm just going to leave you with a little bit more gameplay. I hope you enjoyed. Like, again, I want to thank MCPENTLAND and Mr. Marty Mark for, you know, recommending this game. Like I said, I don't hate the game by no means, but it's one of those games you're just going to have to try for yourself and make the decision for yourself. So I'll just leave it at that. Alright then, take care. Alright then, take care.